Right, morning everybody. Welcome to a cold day sitting in the dark. Well, you guys aren't in the dark because you're here. The rest of the people are in the dark. Thanks, Eskom. I'm just waiting for one or two more people. Okay, so let's start. Fanatical Prospecting is a book, not a book, it's a fact. But there is a book written by Jeb Blount. And Jeb based his whole business career in sales based on prospecting. And he's got quite a simplistic take on it, and it's awesome. So this is a combination of his work and just some thoughts on property. So I will put up, I will send you the papers afterwards, and I will put it up from time to time. Okay, but there's the one thing that you guys already know, just starting straight away. No enterprise or business can survive without sales. Sales is the cornerstone of it. Now, if you're an accountant, if you've been trained in accounting, they will tell you at varsity or wherever you've been trained that accounting is the cornerstone of all businesses. And the bookkeepers will say, well, it's bookkeeping, because without bookkeeping, you can't do accounting, and the bookkeepers are, in fact, the cornerstone of all businesses. And then the manufacturing guys will say, well, you're all right, I suppose, except that without manufacturing, you can't have a business, and we're all awesome. But they're all wrong, because in this case, I think it's true that sales is, in fact, the cornerstone, because none of that can happen without sales. Nothing can ever be produced or sold or anything without a sales team or without some kind of sales effort. And that's gone on since 5,000 years ago, when in the caravans that used to trek across the desert with salt from Timbuktu, they would stop in the oasis, put up their piles of salt and sell salt as a commodity. So it wasn't the camels, it wasn't the person who knew where the salt was, it wasn't the accountant, it wasn't the banker, it was only the salesperson that drove the whole process. So just bear that in mind. Sales, you guys fulfill a completely, utterly essential service. Okay, the other thing that's important, that there's no single way of doing it. So it's very little use looking for our best salesperson and saying, okay, I've found the best salesperson in our group. I think that's currently Rob Pound, so well done, Rob. And saying, okay, how does that person do it? And then saying, okay, I'm going to do the same. It doesn't work like that. Why? Well, the market's different, you different, Rob's personality is different, and the stock he's got is different. Everything is different. So there isn't one way. And that's very important to understand that, because agents often make the mistake of saying, okay, let me find out the way that the best guys do it, and then I copy them. Now, that's an excellent way to start your career. So if you're new to the property business and you want to do a thing, then you listen to Oaks with grey hair rambling on Zoom, so telling you how you should do it. And we can only tell you the generic way, the most sensible way. And when you get more experience, when you understood the basics, then you can fine tune it. So don't latch on to somebody and say, you must save you, I'm going to copy you and I'm going to be successful. You won't, you'll fail utterly, because you can't do what they do. But you can learn from them, and you can learn not to do stupid stuff. Okay, there's no secret to selling, unfortunately. So if you've come here for the miracle, bad luck. The only thing it is work. So selling does take a lot of work. There's no secret to success. There's no magic bullet. And most successful people in the world are just that. The only other thing I can tell you is that the guys who work the hardest are more successful than the people that are superstars. So if you're a uniquely talented salesperson, you might find yourself on Donald Trump's TV program and win some kind of competition. But you won't be successful in life in general, because the people that are actually successful in sales are the guys that get up, show up, turn up and get busy and make the phone calls and do the hard work. There's no way that talent in this game, I can be as good as I can at closing. If I've got no leads, if I've got no business, I've got nothing. So talent does not get you success. And that's true in most things. If you think back to your school days, the cleverest guy in your class forever is not necessarily the most successful in your class. And sometimes it's quite surprising that the oak that you thought was the doffy in your class has actually done very well, because that are grafts and grafts and grafts. Okay, and that happens a lot in sport. There's some very talented sportsmen that I knew, because I came from an excellent school called Selborne College, probably the best school in the world, probably in the outer spiral arm of the universe. It's a very, very good school, just saying. But in that school, there were absolute superstars, guys that were unbelievably talented at football and rugby and cricket. But afterwards, they never actually made it. And you'd see the other guy that's suddenly playing, border, playing EP, then suddenly he's a Springbok. Mark Andrews, another one of Selborne's great children, is now, Springbok. Not the greatest at school, but I mean, afterwards, and because of consistency, absolutely successful. So just bear that in mind. Don't feel bad if you're not like a brilliant superstar. You don't have to be a brilliant superstar. You just have to work hard. Right. Now, the problem with prospecting is it's not fun. I mean, you're going to get, I don't know, you are going to get rejected. Why? Because you're interrupting people's days. Nobody sits at home waiting for a phone call. Oh my God, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. Hi, MTN. Yeah, I've been waiting for your call. What have you got for me? Lekker. Hang on a second, I got another call. Vodacom. Yes, I can't wait to hear about your specials. I mean, this doesn't happen in real life. All that happens is what? No, sorry, what? No, a cell phone. No, I don't need one. Bye-bye. You know, like it's completely intrusive. So what modern technology has done is that people have found a way to get straight from their wants and desires into your head, straight into your ear, not respecting anything that you're doing. You could be on the loo, you could be in church, you could be in hospital. It does not matter. The phone will ring. And it's very intrusive. So what does that mean? Well, it means that it's going to hurt, because people are going to reject you. And I must tell you, just on the side, it typically is not as bad as you think. Most people are quite friendly and quite calm. But if you catch the guy at the wrong time, he is going to reject you, and it hurts and it stings. We are biologically programmed not to be rejected. It hurts us. We take offense to it. It's not lacquer. But you will get rejected and get used to it. But the one thing is that most agents don't even get to that point. They don't even make the calls, because they say, what if I phone this guy and he screams at me? What if I phone this guy and he comes to Property Closer and he smashes me in the head? Like, all of these things don't happen, but it's what we think, and then we don't make the calls. Okay. The other problem that you've got with this is that some of you sit here looking at me going, I didn't sign up to become a telesalesman. I'm a property broker. I put deals together. Donald Trump and me deal, 100 million rand deal. Well, I've got bad news for you. Those guys all pick up the phone and make the phone calls. Okay. So if you didn't sign up for cold calling and didn't sign up for cold knocking on doors, you're in the wrong business. And I'm serious about that. So if you don't like the telephone, you either don't be a property broker, or find somebody and partner with them that does like the telephone and find a way around it. But what you cannot do is be a successful property broker if you don't use the telephone. Okay. Okay, the other thing I need to tell you is that nobody owes you anything. It's a sad and utter truth. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what your background is. It doesn't matter what you think you went through. Nobody owes you anything. And it's never more true when you're trying to get people's money. Okay, from a political point of view, you may be previously disadvantaged. From a political point of view, you might be presently disadvantaged. You can have anything that you like going on in your head, anything you like. Nobody owes you a cent. And the sooner you learn that about sales, the better you're going to be. Why? Because people don't care about you. It doesn't matter who you are. So you better have a reason to phone them, and you better get it right. Okay, so why the telephone? Okay, so this is where it gets interesting, because there's a joke that says, how do you get an estate agent to stop working? Okay, the answer is you put a telephone in front of them, and then all of a sudden they go, and they sit there looking at it. And I watch you guys in the office when we used to do cold calling. We used to have phone frenzies. The guys would come in for a 2-hour session and make 3 calls. And they would sit and look at the phone and amp themselves up and really get into it. And finally, I'll do it, and make a call. Ooh, answering machine. Thank God for that. Okay, and then I sit there, and then wait and wait and wait and wait. That's not the way to do it. Mark Beckley's got an awesome way. 3 seconds between the last call and the next call. He does not wait. He puts the phone down, looks at a number, dials, and picks it up again. He does not stop, because as soon as you stop, then you start thinking of getting shouted at, you're thinking of all the negative things. So there's a efficacy of media. You know, why is this telephone so important? We know that social media is big. We know that Facebook's the biggest in the world. We know that all of these things are there. There's newsletters, there's flyers, there's many ways of communicating with people. So why is this a dragging on about the telephone? Because, and I'll show you this, but if you look at that bar, all you need to see is that line there. That line is the efficacy of telephone calls compared to social media, newsletters, and flyers. There is no doubt that telephones are better. Okay, and I'll tell you why it went wrong. In the 1990s, as the rise of social media happened, the internet, and people got cleverer, the experts said that that's the end of the telephone. Why? Because the telephones were pinned to somebody's desk. So you could phone somebody and you'd get to a receptionist. You would then say, I'd like to speak to Mr. Smith. And the receptionist would put you through to Mr. Smith's desk. So you were locked into a physical system. Nowadays, you could speak to the CEO of the world. You could speak to Bill Gates if you knew his number. And there's a thing called the 6 degrees of separation. I don't know if you've heard of it. The 6 degrees of separation is a philosophy that talks about that there are only 6 steps between you and anybody on the planet. Now, look it up, Google it in your own time, 6 degrees of separation. And if you think about it, it's true. So if you want to speak to Jake White, the previous Springbok coach who won the 95 World Cup, how would you do that? 6 degrees of separation. I've already told you that I know a Springbok guy from the school, Selborne College, best school in the world, remember? Talk about that. So if you wanted to talk to Jake White, how would you do that? You'd say, oh, hang on a second, Anton knows somebody. That's call 1. I would say, geez, I don't know Jake White. I'll tell you who I do know. I know Mark Andrews. 2. I'll give you his number. What do? Phone Mark Andrews. Hi, Mark Andrews. Anton gave me your number. Do you know Jake White? Of course I know Jake White. I won the World Cup with him. 4 steps to Jake White. And it's quicker with anybody in the world. You want to speak to Barack Obama? Same thing. Who do you phone? Sia Songweni from the Gareth Cliff show. Why? Because Sia is Oprah Winfrey's mate. They talk to each other on the telephone. Sia, please, I need Oprah's number because I have to speak to Barack Obama. 3, hello, Oprah Winfrey. Sia gave me your number from Cliff Central in South Africa. Oh, Sia, this must be an important call. Yes, I'd like to speak to Barack Obama. Boom. 4 steps to Barack Obama. So the telephone's enormously powerful, and the cell phone's even more powerful. So guys, get your minds right about this. You have to use the telephone, and you've got to use it often. Okay. If you don't dial, you'll fail. So there's a saying in, I think it's called the French, I want to say it's the French, but they've got a saying, eat the frog. So what does eat the frog means? If you don't like the telephone, eat the frog. That means do it and do it straight away. So if you don't like doing something, if you don't like washing the dishes, when do you do it? First thing, eat it. Straight away, get it done. Because if you don't like something and you put it off, you're going to put it off indefinitely. Okay, so telephones, eat the frog. Every morning you get up, you say at 8 o'clock I'm phoning, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, it's 8 o'clock, I'm doing it. I eat the frog. It's the first thing I do. Okay, it doesn't mean you have to do it the first thing in the morning. It means that it's the first thing you do when you're doing the things that you don't like. You just eat the frog. Okay. There's a thing, sorry, I'm just letting somebody in. There's the social media. Social media is probably the biggest con on the planet right now. Everybody thinks that social media is the answer. Everybody tells you that, oh, you're not on Facebook. Woo, you've got to be on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Why aren't you guys on these things? Pinterest. I mean, you can't succeed without being on Facebook. Who's telling you this? Facebook's telling you this. They're marketing their own product. What's the reality? You put an ad on Facebook. Who sold a house via Facebook? Anybody. Well, maybe one person got a lead. Okay, Rahul's saying he sold one. That's well done. That's not the norm, though. Okay, that is certainly not the norm. So social media is great for awareness. It's great for networking, for information, for branding, for putting your face, your beautiful, lovely, clever faces next to a good brand, and for getting it printed in people's minds that this oak and Property Closer are together, they're safe, they're out there, and they're endorsed by Facebook, and Bill Gates likes them, I can like them, all of this kind of nonsense. Okay. Does that mean they're going to phone you to sell their house? Absolutely not. That's got nothing to do with it. So you're just building brand awareness. So it's good for familiarity. It's good for context. It's very, very bad for selling. If you base your business on Facebook, you're going to fail utterly. And you know what's worse than that? You're going to fail in front of 100 billion people. Broadcast. Everybody can see the misery that you're going to go through. So Facebook isn't your answer. Your answer remains in your hand and in your pocket. Okay. So, why do people rob banks? Who knows? What inspires somebody to wake up one day and say, I'm putting on this mask, not for COVID. I'm now going to rob a bank. Give me your money. Who knows? The answer is that's where the money is. Okay? People rob banks because the money is in the bank. People don't rob clinics when they're looking for money. They don't rob the SPCA looking for money because there's no money there. So use that in your mind. If the money is in the bank, you rob the bank. If the connection to people is in the phone, you use the phone. It's very simple. Don't focus on anything else. Okay? So this is very theoretical. It's going to come right now. Okay. Procrastination, perfectionism, and paralysis are the three enemies of prospecting. Okay? Procrastination, I'll get to it tomorrow. We all know this. This is the worst. Ugh, you guys, you can't get to it tomorrow. You can't make up for lost time. If you say today I'm going to canvas and you don't do it today, it's gone forever. You can't make it up tomorrow. You understand? You can't make up time. We've got this perception in our heads that that's okay. I'll do it. I'll do it tomorrow, and I'll do sort of more, and I'll catch up. You can never ever catch up time. If you don't do it now, it will never be done. You might do another version of it tomorrow, but you can't do what you should have done today tomorrow. You can only do tomorrow's thing tomorrow. Today's thing is gone forever. So if you haven't realized it yet, your life's a timeline. What happened yesterday is gone forever. What happens tomorrow hasn't happened yet. You only have to live in the present. There is no tomorrow. You could die today. And what happened yesterday, if you didn't do it, didn't happen. So if you're depending on money and sales performance, you better be doing it today, because that's the only time you can do it. Okay, tomorrow's a bad day, because tomorrow you wake up and go, I'm going to make all these phone calls and whoop, Eskom. Oh, don't worry, I'll do it tomorrow. What happens tomorrow? Whoop, Eskom. You'll never get to it. Okay. Perfectionism is a very important one. You guys, a lot of you are very particular about the way you do sales. You guys are all good agents. You talk well, you understand the products, you know what you're saying, but you sometimes focus a little bit too much on the perfectionist side of it. You prepare so well. I want to get this thing right. I want the presentation to be beautiful. I don't want to sit in front of a client and not know what I'm talking about. I never want to be caught out. I don't want to I'm going to practice this phone call. I'm going to phone my mother. I'm going to phone my auntie. I'm going to practice in front of my kid. My dog is going to eventually buy this house because I've spoken to my dog for so often about it. Sit still, Fluffy, and listen. Okay, and you practice and practice and practice. It is worthless. Rather make 50 messy calls than one good call. Why? Because one good call's got the same outcome. One good call, the guy can either buy it or not buy it. He might be feeling well or not well. He might be happy or sad. It's got no control over it. You make 50 messy calls, 3 people might not even know they're messy. And 2 of those might be buyers or sellers. Nobody knows. You don't know what people are trying to say. And we're quite indulgent as humans. When people stagger and stutter and give you trouble and trying to say something, we actually give them the courtesy of listening and trying to understand. Why? Because we commissioned. Your mother has told you, pay attention, listen to what the man's trying to say. Don't be rude. Don't interrupt him. That's in your head. You can't get that out of your head. Your mother will come and bliksem you. So you listen politely, and he's stammering and stuttering and carrying on. You say, oh, he's trying to get me to sell my house. Oh, I do want to sell my house. Okay, and you talk to him. Okay, so it's not a competition. We're not on television. We're not trying to win a prize for the best sales pitch. That's nonsense. 50 messy calls. The other thing is this paralysis analysis, where you sit and think of the worst possible things. What happens if I make the call and he shouts at me? What happens if I make the call and he says no? What happens if I make the call and he says yes? What happens? Why are you thinking about it? Why don't you just make the call and see what happens? You're all adults. You've all been told yes and no in your whole lives. I mean, what's going to happen? Your head doesn't burst into flames. I mean, it could, I suppose. So let the what ifs take care of themselves. Okay, so the 3 laws to prospecting. I don't know why they're 3, because I wrote down 4. Okay, so forgive me. Right, I went to Selborne, can't count. Okay, priority number 1 is your only job is to keep your pipeline full. If you don't have a full pipeline, you are going to go hungry. What is a full pipeline? It's not sales. A pipeline is people listing with you. You have to be listing every day. Every day. List, 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 list. Okay. That's the first thing. So the top performers spend up to 80% of their time finding stock, making connections, talking to people. They do not spend 80% of their time signing deals. If you got that in your head, you got it wrong. Speak to the people that know what they're doing, and you'll see signing deals is no big deal. It's nothing. It takes little time. You send them the stuff, send it back, signed, done. Okay, that's not the problem. Okay, so what are the 3 laws? The 3 laws. The first law is the universal law of need. The universal law of need is very simple. It says the more you need something, the more you depend on it, the more frantically you need it, the more hungry you are for it, the less chance you got of getting it. And if you've lived on this earth, you know that to be true. The day your car breaks is the day you get the job interview. The day you run out of time on your phone, ping, is the time that that chick that you've been lying to talk to all the time, Raoul, is just phoning you, and you want it so badly, but you can't get it. And the universe works like it. And I don't know why, and it doesn't matter why. But the more you need something, the less chance you've got of getting it. Okay. And that teaches us about one-offs. That means that if you are so desperate for something, you're going to not probably get it. And that teaches us that you need to have a volume mindset. Fishermen don't go out and catch one fish because they might not get it. They take a net and they catch everything. Because why? They can throw the seal pups back, they can throw the bodies back, they can throw the sharks back, and they can be left with fish. If you go out and catch one fish and you don't get it, you're going to go hungry. It's simple. Okay, the second law is the 90-day rule. The 90-day rule says that what you're doing, what you're getting paid this week, what you get paid today happened 90 days ago, 3 months ago, 3, 6, 9. So if you're hungry today, you should look at yourself in the mirror and say, Wayne, 3 months ago, my old Wayne, you were a bad dude, because future Anton here is telling you you're rubbish. And today Anton is going to look at future Anton in 3 months' time, and I'm going to say, I wonder what future Anton's going to say about me in 3 months' time. And I don't want him to be cross, because we're going to have words. Now, these 3 people live in your head. Past Anton, present Anton, and future Anton are actually in here. And they are going to have problems, and you are going to fight with yourself if you don't do today what future Anton is demanding of you. Okay. So that's the 90-day rule. Do today what you need in 3 months' time. If you haven't, and remember where we are now, October, November, December. If you want to eat turkey on Christmas, or if you want to sit at home and be hungry and without presents, depends not on Christmas Day or December. It depends on what you do today. 3 months' time, it's Christmas. Literally 3 months' time. If you don't do the work today, you are going to go hungry. That is the very scary thing. The law of replacement works like this. The law is the third law, and the law of replacement says that there is a cost to replacing stuff that you do. So if you make one sale, in our heads we go, cool, I've made a sale, and luckily I only have to replace a sale, 1 for 1. Am I right? Makes sense. So I sell a house, I only have to get another house. Easy. So you sell a house, Get a house to sell. Sell a house, get a house to sell. I sell 2 houses, I only have to find 2 listings. Yes? No. Okay. No. Why no? Well, because it doesn't work like that. It takes 100 phone calls to get 10 listings. And it takes 10 listings to make 1 sale. So that's 100 to 1. So when you make a sale, you're not replacing 1 for 1. When you make a sale, you should absolutely poop yourself, because now you know that today, to replace that stock, I have to make 100 phone calls. And that's why people who make sales are not happy people, because they know if they sell 3 things today, they're going to make 300 phone calls to fill up the pipeline so that they can have Christmas dinner. It's not about 1 for 1. It's not about stumbling across stock. Does that make sense? It's 100 to 1. So every time you make a sale, you go, oh my God, I'm so busy. Why? You made a sale, you're making money. No, I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about 3 months' time. I need to make the calls today. 100 phone calls straight away. The first thing you should do after you've made a sale is not buy beer, is pick up the phone. Okay, that's the law of replacement. Okay, so we're running out of time, I guess, but the other thing is, don't lie to yourself. And I tell everybody this, and it's my mantra, I suppose. Don't lie. Stop lying to me. Stop lying to yourself. Did you make your 50 phone calls? Yeah. Sort of, you know. Okay, how many phone calls did you actually make? Okay, I phoned 37 people. How many phone calls did you make? Well, I phoned 37 people. Okay. How many people answered the phone? No, 37-ish. Oh, so you left some messages. Yes. How many people did you actually talk to? 12. And of those 12, did you speak to every one of them? No, 6 of them said that I had to phone them tomorrow because they were busy. So you spoke to 6 people. No, 3 people didn't want to talk to me. So you spoke to the last 3 people. No, 1 of them wasn't selling. So you spoke to 2 people. Yes. So you didn't phone 37 people. You phoned 2. So if you're making 50 phone calls, don't tell me you phoned 37. Actually, don't tell me. Don't tell yourself you phoned 37. You phoned 2. Okay, it's a volume game. You're trying to make those calls. You've got to be honest with yourself and say, were those effective calls? You can't just say, lacquer. Okay, so if you think about your dating history, how many times did you get to kiss a girl? Well, not as many times as you would have told your mates, and certainly not as many times as you thought you would have, because you spoke to 100 girls. Doesn't equal 100 kisses. Okay. The top athletes record their performance. You speak to an athlete who's on top of his game. He knows what his weight is. He knows how fast he went yesterday, how much he's eaten. He knows his circadian rhythms. He knows his everything. He knows the temperature outside. He knows how long he's had his running shoes for, how many kilometers he's done. You need to record the same thing. I made the calls. I made 50 calls. 47 of them were no answered. 12 of them were yes, answered. 3 of those were not interested. 2 of those were make an appointment. 1 of them said, phone me last week. At the end of the week, you look at your week and say, I should have made 250 phone calls. I've made 37. Is that good? I don't know if it's good. You'll know. I don't know if it's good. Maybe it's good. Maybe it's bad. But at least you did the work. And now next week you can go, okay, I made 37 contacts out of 250 calls. Maybe I should up my game. Maybe I should phone 500 people. Maybe I should phone 1,000. I don't know. Depends if you're hungry or not. The sales pitch. Guys, what do you say on this phone call? And this is a whole thing by itself, but I'm just going to teach you one sentence. I'm going to share my screen with you very quick, Sticks, if I can. For some, this is like a challenge to me. I don't know why I battle with this. It's like, it shouldn't be hard. Okay. Cold calling scripts at work. Can you all see that? Just nod. Okay. So this is what you say in your 50 phone calls. Now, if you don't believe me, it means you don't know what you're talking about. If you believe me, it means you've done this for a living and you know what you're talking about. This is the answer to your problems. You only say this. Until you've made 1,000 phone calls, you can't change this. Because if you change it, you're going to get it wrong. So this is what you say. You pick up the phone and it rings. And you say, hi, this is Anton van der Venter from Property Koza. Yes. I'm calling you because my company has buyers looking for a home in your neighborhood. Are you thinking of selling in the near future? And then you stop talking. So and when you hear that, you're going to say, that sounds so stupid and false and pretend. Well, it's because I was reading it. You don't read it, you learn it. But you say it like that. And why? Because I say hi and I pause. Why? Because you're breaking into somebody's life. They're busy beating up their dog for eating their chickens. They've got 3 cows in their lounge and you're phoning them. If you just start talking, they haven't got a chance to get their brain into the proper action. So what you've got to do is say hi. And they go, hi. This is Anton van der Venter from Property Koza. Stop talking. The first one calls their attention. The second one frames what you're saying in reality. Anton van der Venter, Property Koza. Ah, it's a property call. And you pause. Then you say, yes. Positive affirmation, a positive start. Positive yes. Because you want them to say yes. You want yes. So you don't say, no, listen. You say yes, comma. I am calling because my company has buyers looking for a home in your neighborhood. Are you thinking of selling in the near future? That's got 2 things to it. One, I'm telling you that I've got buyers. So now there's a greed and a fear of loss in the client. If he says no at this point, he's going to miss out on these buyers, or he's not going to get the sale of his house. He doesn't know. Okay. And you say there, are you thinking of selling in the near future? Why do I ask that question? Because the answer can be no. And if the answer is no, that's perfect. Why? Because I can move on to my next call. I don't want to get into a discussion with Mr. Smith, who's got a goat in his kitchen, 4 chickens, and he's thinking of selling his cousin's place, but he wants to first talk about the weather. I've got 100 calls to make, Mr. Smith. Are you selling? Yes or no? No, thank you, bye. Next one, next one, next one. Until somebody says yes. And then you do the valuation and you make the sale in 3 months' time. Okay. Now, I'll send that to you as well. So it's very important to use that script. Okay. Please don't try and make up your own script. It's not going to work. It really is not. Let me just fix that. Right. So what is the a persuasive pitch? Use the script until you don't need the script, or you can modify the script. Please don't think you can change the script. I'm saying it again. You really, that script is not written by me. That's been written by a market specialist who studied 150,000 calls from 42 telemarketing companies in the United States. He didn't make it up. This is a scientific study that broke this thing up. The only thing I changed was the name of the company to Property Koza, and my name is not Sally, it's Anton. Okay. Use the technology that's available. Don't second guess stuff. Okay. Once that's, and the person says yes, there's another very, very important thing. What's in it for me? And that's the fundamental basis of every phone call. The client is only going to respond to you if he's got something in it for him. Don't tell him how awesome you are. You don't tell him how fantastic Property Koza is. You don't promise him anything. You don't say, I've sold 100 houses. I've been in the property business for 20 years. I'm so awesome. What's in it for me? What's in it for you is I have a buyer for your house. I've got money for you. Do you want it? That's all that's in it for him. They don't care about you. I've got bad news. Nobody cares about you. They only want to know what's in it for them. And you can use this in your whole life. If you're talking to anybody about anything, what's in it for them is what the answer is going to be for you. Okay. There's only 3 things to say. Tell the client how you can help them. I'm a property broker. I've got buyers. I've got sellers. I've got renters. I've got industrial stock. I've got commercial. I've got buildings. I've got agricultural. I've got a guest house. Whatever that, you've got to tell it what's in it for them. You explain to them that then when you're engaging them, you can tell them why. You need to know your elevator pitch. Why are we better? Because I've been in the business. I've got the buyers. I've got 100 people. I've got a database. I'm on the internet, whatever it is. No hesitation. I know why I'm better. Okay. And then you need to show them the evidence. If you're making a call to somebody in the area, hi, Mr. Smith, are you selling? Yes, I'm thinking about it. Good. I've got buyers in Melville. I've just sold a house in Melville. Do you know number 4 across the road? Just got the top price there. Sold it in 3 weeks, 4 weeks. And if you haven't sold a house there, somebody sold a house there. Somebody in our group sold a house there. We've sold 15 houses in Ferndale last month. Can I help you? You didn't say I sold them, but you also didn't say you didn't sell them. So let it up to him to make a decision on who sold the house. Okay. This is fast. This is a study. This is, if you get this right, you'll become a millionaire. Now, do you understand? This is like gold. Don't forget, this is gold. Do it. Okay, so now you know a couple of things about the real estate business. We know yesterday, or the guys who were in the 101 learned that it was quite a different business to what they might have thought. And some of you are now starting to realize that it's not about sales. It's only about making phone calls and trying to find people who are listing their houses. Are you selling? Are you buying? Are you renting? What are you doing? I want to know. And I don't want to know the long story. Do you want to use me? Yes or no? You're only trying to get no's out of people. And no's are good because no's statistically cannot go on forever. It's like flipping a coin. Heads, 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 heads. You're going to get a tail. And the more heads you get, statistically, the more chance you get of getting a tail. It's the same for no's. So no's are fine. Get the no's done. The more no's behind you, you know it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. It must come, it must come. And boom, there's your lead. There's the visit. There's the listing. Bang, here's the sale. Okay, so right now, with 1 minute, 33 seconds to go in this, you need to make 50 phone calls a day. You need to make them every day. You cannot miss out. If you miss out today, you'll never recover the time. There are 3 months left until Christmas. That gives you just about enough time to make some calls this week, to do a listing so that you can get paid before Christmas Day. You know, you've got to do it this week. You actually should be sitting there going, I wish this oak would stop talking. I've got phone calls to make. Okay, and when you make the phone calls, use the script that I give you. There are other scripts there for sale by owners, for people who may not be selling, for people that are retiring. You've got all of those scripts. I will send them to you. Okay, so good luck. It's easy. It's a volume game. Make the phone calls, become rich and famous. Have a nice day. Go and sell some houses.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, Anton.
Okay.
Thank you, Anton.
Fabulous. Thank you.
Thank you.